This is Ruby, and you're watching The Messy Human Tarot. Check out that disclaimer down below, but I'll say it in a little while anyways. So, I've been reading The Tao of Pooh, which is pretty awesome, but I've also, too, been getting a couple of different messages that I've had to kind of like sort out on a regular basis. It was so clear to me earlier, like I had it in my brain, I had grasped it. Double-edged sword, knowing how to wield our gifts. In the Tao Pooh that I was reading, there's this part in the book that talk about how, we can't really go against ourselves. Eventually what will happen is if we try to shove the parts we don't like away, they'll just come back stronger and better and stronger and uglier and messier. And I was talking to my partner how, because, how I have this theory. I've always had this theory about stubborn, strong-willed children. And usually it's because they have a strong will, right? And it's a protective measure. Usually. I mean, it is, but it's a double-edged sword, because sometimes what happens is you're like, well, I'm so stubborn that I'm not receptive, I'm not listening, but it's usually to protect and shield, like, hey, no, this is not okay. I don't want this to happen to me. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to protect yourself, but ultimately, then you're like, well, you get older and you're like, well, I need to be open and receptive and listen to feedback, but also do discernment. I have to develop discernment, know what feedback to take in and what not to. And so that double-edged sword is like almost like it's like that stubbornness. Like people like usually phrase that as something bad. Like, oh, you're so stubborn. And so ultimately you don't like that about yourself. And so you try really hard to be a better version of yourself. But in Tao Pooh, I felt like the way the author was saying, like, less effort is best effort. Which is hilarious, because I was always saying, like, all effort is good effort, right? I would tell myself on repeat that. And I would tell other people, going like, well, you gotta be kind to yourself. Yeah, like you're doing your best, right? And in Taoism, too much effort can be your downfall. Just be. And what does that really mean, really? Especially when you have a fault like stubbornness, right? And so when you accept who you are, that means all the bad parts, right? It means, oh, this thing, this ugly little thing of me is actually quite useful. Oh, this thing, this bitter little thing that I'd rather bury in the ground, like bones, right? Instead of seeds. Rather it stay hidden. But it's not. It's going to get vicious and mean because you labeled it as other. And nothing likes being labeled as other. We reject that wholeheartedly. We get angry. Have you seen rebellions? Right? Not to get political and touch on a sore spot right now. But when people feel rejected and unsafe, they can get mean. They can get really snarly. And I worked in the mental health field, so I saw that with like mental health workers were often ignored We are forgotten. Like nurses and doctors and teachers get more recognition. But the people who work in behavioral health and mental health workers, like bachelor's level and even master's level, we kind of get ignored and forgotten about, and assumed and taken for granted that we're just, you assume we're gonna be there always, and so it gets buried, right? This anger, this resentment, because oh, and I remember seeing a lot of people getting angry, but because we are this weird atmosphere, this culture about sacrifice, I think we feel like, well, I can't be angry. I'm not allowed to get angry. And so we cut away that with substance use or with watching TV or shopping. We'd find a way to cut that off, that anger, and bury it and label it as something bad and wrong. And if other people got angry around us, we got uncomfortable, we got quiet, we got like... But what you see that now is that there's a problem in the mental health work, right? Right? We're the light workers. I'm sure there's still some out there, but you don't have heavily inexperienced people sometimes. I've seen people drop, like go elsewhere or change their careers dramatically. That happened to me. Where am I? Oh, I'm gone now. I don't work in the mental health field anymore because I had this disgusting little child. Not child literally, but this angry thing, this unspoken thing that I was not allowed to communicate, or felt like it was dangerous to say. I am deeply resentful. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of and mistreated. And it's the same thing with stubbornness, right? Because when you push it away, it gets nasty. And so you try to cut it off and do things like, what do people do with stubbornness, right? You either get inflexible or you bend the other way. And you'll see people who have been naturally stubborn. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll not eat as much. They'll control themselves in different ways because they're managing themselves. They're punishing themselves. They're doing all kinds of little things so that way they can't hurt a person with their words, with their actions, because those words and actions are labeled as bad and other and all kinds of other things. So not to go down, but I think it is worth mentioning that there are consequences when we label things as other, is because what ends up, like, especially like, because I'm here to tell you what happens when you do this to yourself. You eventually run into situations where you make mistakes, costly mistakes. And you don't want that for yourself. You don't. And I feel like the question that is bubbling forth, like the divine source, is bubbling forth from the ether. What am I supposed to do about myself? Like, who am I? Why am I like this? How can I be a better person? And there's a problem with this, not like necessarily bad per se, but it sounds like you don't like yourself. It sounds like you're labeling yourself as other. Like you have to be the one that changes instead of the system or the people around you, which is problematic in itself, because it's saying that you're the problem, that you have to be the one that fixes yourself in order for things to get better. And I don't think that's true. I don't. But we're going to work with your question. We're going to reframe it. We're kind of like with Play-Doh, kind of move it around in our hands. So let's phrase this like, what can we learn about what you're going through right now? I'm like, okay, I got the Play-Doh, man. Don't worry. We're going to use this to make something beautiful out of it. Okay, I'm going to put this right here. All right, so we're going to go with Midnight Magic. I felt called to it. I really did. And I feel for you. I do. I really do. I can empathize. As the messy human tarot here, we're here. It's okay to be messy. Full disclaimer, right? Timeless, general. Like, comment, subscribe. But I'm not a messy. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a financial legal advisor. I left the mental health field for a good reason. But I wasn't bold enough and honest enough when I was in it to say that the apples had rotten. They were rotten to the core. There's so many rotten apples, and a lot of it's the management, including the behavior, like RBTs. RBTs get treated like shit. So I'm only bringing this up because great spirits like calling me to like kind of say like, you know what? It's okay if you were scared. It's okay if you didn't feel brave enough to be open and honest and upfront about what you're going through, because sometimes we're scared. We got a lot to lose, it feels like, right? Another question's bubbling forth. Okay, so I guess I didn't shuffle this right last time. It's weird. So we got Page of Cups, but also Three of Wands. And it was... You beautiful soul, you. Okay. All right. What do you think that is? Wheel of Fortune. You, my bright star, my daisy in the wind. Oh my God. A star. No. Okay, don't freak out. This is a good thing. Something's getting shaken up. We do have the Tower card, okay? So before we kind of move on, I need to kind of like reshuffle this and resettle the deck a little bit. Because this is fascinating. And I mean, please like and comment, subscribe, please. Because I feel like you are awesome right now, about now. And I would love to keep you as a subscriber. There's definitely I feel a new beginning coming forth. It's really interesting because you're definitely getting a lot more curious about your emotions. Like, I sense this about you. Yeah, you've been through a tough time. One minute. Okay, so okay. So you also have Three of Cups. So remember that we're going to put that under Three of Wands. So I felt pulled before I continued this, but I do also feel pulled for Queen of Cups too. So we're going to do this, okay? I'm going to put Queen of Cups underneath Page of Cups. So, okay. So this is my sense. All right. So you're definitely expanding, and I think you're becoming more loyal to yourself. There's a lot here. And even in my little moment here, I was still kind of grasping. And I think a lot of it is that I think you're very confused about who you are. But there's going to be a very singular moment. Like a moment where you're going to be like, yeah, I do actually understand who I am. I do get who I am. And I want to go back to that original question that you asked. It was like a place of blame, right? Like who am I? Why am I like this? And I think actually there's a hint of curiosity, which I like. Maybe it's not all about blame, because how do I say this? I think you're reconnecting to your emotions and to your spirituality. And don't get me wrong with this. It's just so, okay, for some of you, you could actually be traveling. You're shifting. You're beginning maybe a new job, or you're getting a networking opportunity. And I feel like it's because you're finally opening that door in your heart chakra. I think there, like, it just feels very clouded. I don't understand why this is so clouded. I think that we do need a little clarity from Great Spirit, and I want to get the other deck, but I'm using it right now to keep my phone up, so we're gonna keep going with this deck. Like, I kid you not. I miss low budget. Okay, that kind of confirmed something that I was thinking. Judgment card. Yeah, so you're definitely developing a relationship with your spirituality. And I think that you're going to connect with other people within your spirituality. And here we go. We got 7 of Swords, right? But I'm still thinking travel, right? But this is like options. Like, you're going to get options. I mean, think about Wheel of Fortune, right? When good things happen to you, it creates an option. Like, I'll give you a prime example. Like, when I was like younger, like, right? Like, I got this beautiful opportunity for another job. It was a higher paying job. And I was able to get my first apartment, my first everything. It was awesome. It gave me choices. And I'm sensing that you're going to get more choices because of the Wheel of Fortune. And I like that a lot. But I feel like also too, again, the Tower card. Can we get some more clarification, Great Spirit? So with 4 of Cups, I think there's a need for safety. Like, I think you are on the scared side. I think there's a lot of negative thinking. There's, for the Tower, I think that you need to find a place of mellow and calm, safety. You need to go where it feels good to you, which is your internal world. I think that you need to be by yourself. You have to be mindful of what other people are saying or telling you, and that's not a bad thing, right? King of Swords, it seems like you kind of need to make better and different decisions that can be a better resource for you. That can help clear things away, that can just help you just expand even further. Sorry. I like the Justice card came forth to you. I love Justice card because usually often like things are going to be made fair for you, right? But this is also too, sometimes it can mean that maybe you're going through a legal system situation where you've gone through a tough time, right? You have, just gonna driving me nuts a little bit. That's a little bit better. A lot of dense energy lately. I think the dense energy is coming from just not really connecting to your feeling state. Like, you just don't really want to feel what it means to be you. And I think, though, I'm sympathetic to that. I am. But is it really helping you? And that's a really tough question to be. So, like, where's the stubbornness coming from? Where is this flaw, right? What's the flaw? What's the flaw? Because it's in the mind. There's confusion, and it feels made, like purposely designed. I think when you were a lot younger, you knew exactly what you wanted to do and what you wanted to become. But then other ideas floated in your head. Other people told you things, right? The flaw was that you were very decisive as a person. Knight of Swords. You were very decisive. You knew exactly what you wanted, and you were okay with saying it. You were probably very vocal and honest and didn't think about, like, what's the problem with me being verbose and being, forthright in my words and saying, like, this is what I want. And people are like, no, you're not thinking straight. You're not thinking rationally. That's not a good idea, right? And so in order to protect yourself from disappointing other people, oh, they must be right. They must have been. You created a self-created confusion, a fog, in any way possible that you could. So you didn't have to meet face to face with yourself, with your actual intentions and desires and who. So you created all these ideas, right? You created a lot of really cool ideas where you could go with your life. But let's be honest. Let's actually be a little honest. Who are you? That question only you can tell yourself. You gotta look in the mirror. You're not too stubborn. You're not too smart. You're quite intelligent. You're a very intelligent person. And you know what you want. But the problem is you're letting other people tell you that you're wrong. I'm gonna cry for you. I'm trying not to. You have Queen of Swords reverse. You're now indecisive where you could have been a confident, secure, decisive person. Because of one event in your past or a couple. It just makes me feel kind of funky, We're getting to that point where I do have to wrap up. So it's time for you to have a bit of a new... I think you do need to kind of like have an inner knowing of who you are, what makes you happy, what makes you feel inspired. You gotta go deep. We are gonna finish up. So what I'm gonna do is I like to pull cards from... I do different ways of pulling the cards, but I like to pull the ones we already pulled lately. And kind of see what does Great Spirit kind of like their main highlight of this whole thing is, of everything, and to kind of get back to center to the questions, because you're like, who am I? Why am I like this? And we were trying with that Play-Doh, because we're picking it back up, right? And to kind of go with it. And well, actually, what can we learn from this situation to help ourselves a little bit more? And I think what I would like to know from Great Spirit is, like, what can we learn from this now? What can we learn from this? 3 Cups. Now what I'm looking at, I'm seeing tears. I feel a strong word in collaboration with the inner self, with your younger self, the different versions of who you are across the lifespan, but even now and in the future, like, so I don't know if it was a reading or if it was, sometimes I'll watch readings from other psychics, and I'm not sure if this was from someone else, but it's almost like an echo, right? Something's getting passed along from a different reading. And I think they want to make sure this is a confirmation of something or an echoing of like, I think they were talking about you telling your past self something and hugging them. And I'm also too gonna add a little bit to that in turning towards your future self and asking maybe for a hug. Maybe asking them, hey, what can you give to me? Can you give me some light? Because you are connected to them to a time stream. They will give you light. They will give you warmth. They will give you words of comfort. And if I were to talk to your future version, what would they say actually? I think they would say you're brilliant, you're adorable, you're incredible. We delight in everything that you are. And you are our favorite out of the monks of them. We wish you'd listen to us more because we have so much to tell you. We want to tell you that in the stars where we are right now, that we're waiting for you, but not waiting for you to join us, but to be among us. Among us. In the present moment. We're in the twinkling of the star and the light and moon and the sky, waves crashing against the soil. There's everything to be known about us, but you don't want to know. You shut your eyes, you shut your ears, you shut your nose, you shut your mouth, so that we are numb to you. But we're numb to you? Like there's this wall. Gather in your arms the bundles. These bundles are the things that you've held onto your past. And we want you to look at them and tell us, what is there left for you to hold on to them? Do you need them? Do you want them? Do you like them? Do you need them? How light they are. Put them in the fire. Toss them away. Light the fire within. Accept yourself. I think it's time to begin to cut away the things that no longer serve you. In the Tao of Pooh, I found a lot of comfort in something. In a couple of different things. And they were talking about, like, what would you rather listen to? Would you listen to the birds? Would you rather believe the birds, right? You know, like that the day is good, right? And in this case, would you rather believe in the divine source or in the false messages around you? Like, who are you going to believe? I think I'd rather believe in the divine source, personally, myself. And I'm not trying to be hard on you. I'm not. I just emphasize. I really do. Yeah. It's time for a new cycle. It really is. You it's time to cut away that stuff, man. And then Wheel of Fortune. So I'm going to do one more from the old pile. Knight of Swords. You are such a decisive one when you were yay high. Oh, sorry, I got a little emotional because I was thinking about that little you that was scampering around saying, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be an astronaut. Or You just said it. You just said it. Such innocence. And then someone like, you know, and they broke your heart. And I want to leave you something positive. I'm going to go a little extra. Come on, let's shake this negative vibe off of us. I think you're this beautiful soul. Like, I think you can be awesome. Remember, you got Wheel of Fortune. Like, so in all this darkness, like this heavy, I mean, like, this is why we're the Messy Human Tarot, because unfortunately, like, for us to get to the light, we got to get through the night. We got to hold on tight. We got to carry the fight. Make it right. I'm not even shuffling. I'm just allowing something to pop up. Okay, Grace Spirit, what can you do for us here? Oh, man. Yes! The World card. 10 of Swords. So we're going to treat it as a positive. We're going to, like, frame. Ooh. 6 of Wands. Good. Queen of Wands. Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay. So you have the highest of high honors. Victory will be yours. I feel like we are moving away. This is completions. We're moving away from that, from what was, from the flies buzzing around you, those negative thoughts. Get away, the demon and whatever you are. You are going to manifest. You are going to connect to the thing that inspires you, that makes you feel good. And you are going to complete this long motherfudging journey, man. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I can't say when it's going to happen, but you're going to be okay. We got the World card. We have Wheel of Fortune. We got the Star card. We're going with what's positive. I'm going to take a picture of it so you guys can find it. Ease. Those are going to be our cards. We got to remember that, okay? Take a deep breath. You're a delightful star. There is going to be a shift. You are the shift. There will be a completion. You're going to find wholeness in who you are. You're going to be okay at the end of the day. Take your time. Take a deep breath. It's okay. All right. Namaste. And may the force be with you for across time and space and all that. Toodaloozies. Bye.